The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Para X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.
I'm horror author T. Fox Dunham.
And I'm horror author and filmmaker Phil Thomas.
And tonight we're asking you,
what are you afraid of?
This is What Are You Afraid Of? Horror and Paranormal Shows. T. Fox Dunham.
And this is Phil Thomas.
And we are back after taking November off after a rather hectic and exhausting October Halloween schedule. But we had to come back because it's the holidays and nothing is better on the holidays than ghost stories. How are you, Phil?
Oh, I'm wonderful. Are you happy it's December? Are you looking forward to the Christmas season, the holiday season?
Very, very much. There's something about this year that really has me engaged with the holiday season. We just celebrate December. We celebrate Yule, Midwinter, the solstice. We also appreciate Christmas and Hanukkah and Kwanzaa and all the many other holidays that are celebrated. But really what it comes down to is that it's the darkest time of the year. We need light for that time to survive. And it's a reminder that we are halfway through the dark. We decorated the house. Did you see the pictures on Facebook?
You did some amazing stuff there. I was really impressed.
It's our first real home together. We lived for years with Allison's parents, which was a whole lot of fun while she was finishing up UNC for her master's in accounting. So this was really the first year we've had to ourselves. And so I just wanted to decorate it like I used to. I used to work and volunteer at a place called Pennsbury Manor, which was William Penn's home on the River Delaware, who was the founder of Pennsylvania. And we used to do Holly Night every year, and I was part of the committee that decorated with natural decorations, and I was taught how to do the bouquets and the natural wreaths and such. And I really wanted our apartment to look like that, so we strung up, well, it's fake obviously, but the holly and the natural garland, put lights around it. I created a wonderful bouquet of wintergreens, and I made palmanders, which are oranges where you take cloves and drive them in on patterns, and the oranges become sources of scent, when you sprinkle nutmeg and cinnamon over it. And just Alice and I are really looking forward, because she's home all 24 hours a day. We're looking forward to spending the next few weeks celebrating Christmas, Yule, Midwinter, and all the holidays, and being together, because that was the best part about it, was doing it with her. And you've decorated, right?
Oh, yeah. I finished a couple weeks ago. I have the tree up. I got the lights all up out front, all inside the house. Yeah, I'm pretty much done. I got this really cool projector. I think I showed you a picture of it. It's like Peanuts. It's like Charlie Brown, Snoopy, and everything. And it rotates, and it projects these images in green and purple and red, and it flashes on and off. It's pretty cool. You really add something to the living room, so I'm kind of happy about that. I wanted to ask you, have you started watching any kind of Christmas and themed movies, anything like that, like Home Alone or whatever?
Oh, yes.
And I wanted to say that I haven't watched it yet, but it's on my queue. I'm watching it. It's on Amazon Prime. It's called Santa Jaws.
Sure,
it's
okay.
about a shark around Christmas time, that starts attacking people. It's like and he's got a Santa hat on in the picture. I don't know what's going on with
God.
That.
Okay, now we have to see this. But this is episode 154. Belsnicking this holiday with Fox, Phil, and Daniel Braum. And let me just give a little history for those who are not in the Pennsylvania, Dutch, or Germanic reasons. I live in Lancaster, PA now, And so Belsnicking is actually popular around here. In German and Pennsylvania Dutch communities, Belsnicking is a rogue. He arrives a few weeks before Christmas. He's a filthy brute, dressed in rags and furs, and he comes with a switch to punish bad children. As they said in 1872, Mr. Belsnicking makes his personal appearance dressed in skins or old clothes. His face is dark. He has a bell, a whip, and a pocket full of cakes or nuts. And either the cakes or the whip are bestowed upon those around. Revelers and rowdy people would go Belsnicking, and this was an act that they would do on Christmas Eve to get drunk. They would vandalize the city, and they would play pranks. So I thought Belsnicking.
Yeah. Are you going to go Belsnicking?
Yes. Yes, I am.
Okay, cool.
Because they deserve it. No.
You can't not. Yeah.
But I've got an old friend on the show who's doing some wonderful things in December, and I'm so glad we can bring our sort of media events together here and offer each other support. His name is Daniel Braum. He's the author of the short story collection, The Night Marchers and Other Strange Tales from Cemetery Dance eBooks 2016, The Wish Mechanics, Stories of the Strange and Fantastic from Independent Legends 2017, and the chapbook Yeti Tiger Dragon from Dim Shores in 2016. Now, his new collection of short stories, Underworld Dreams, his third collection, is released from Lethe Press back in October 2020, and The Serpent Shadow, his first novella, was released from Cemetery Dance eBooks in July 2019.
He is the editor of the Spirits Unwrapped anthology from Lethe Press from October 2019. His work has appeared in publications ranging from Lady Churchill's Rosebud Wristlet to the Shivers 8 anthology. His most recent story appears in the Best Horror of the Year, Volume 12, edited by Ellen Datlow. He can be found at bloodandstardust.wordpress.com, www.facebook.com, Daniel Braum Fiction, and on Twitter at Daniel Braum. He is the host of the Nighttime Logic Reading Series and the annual New York Ghost Story Festival established in December of 2020.
Daniel, welcome to the show and happy Belsnicking with us. How are you?
Happy Belsnicking. I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me, Fox. Thanks for having me, Phil.
Absolutely. Welcome to the show.
We're glad to have you. You're actually taking John Foster's usual spot. For years we were doing the Yule episodes with John Foster, but he's actually planning to come join my D&D game, which I'll be doing a Christmas Yule-type comedy adventure in the weeks to come as we finish up Ravenloft. He's planning on playing a sorcerer, so I'm like, you know what? John Foster's got my game. Let's bring on Daniel. Let's bring on another member of the New York Five.
That's so exciting. John is an incredibly talented author. I'm a fan of his. He's also one of my closest friends in the New York writing and otherwise. John, it's just great to hear his name. And yeah, maybe I'm going to catch some slack for taking John's spot here, but pleasure to attempt to fill the shoes on this Bell. How do you say it again? Is it Belsnicking?
Belsnicking.
It's so funny. I've never heard the word before, but it's funny because Christmas is the only time I don't Belsnicking or Belsnicking. I go around in robes and with a whip, and I kind of vandalize 11 months a year, and I rest in December. So it's so funny that you're having me on, actually.
So it's an opposite Belsnicking. This is your rest month.
He sounds a lot like Krampus, this Belsnicking.
He's very similar. And we've had Krampus on a few other episodes. He married Montana Jordan on the show live. That was wonderful.
Yeah. Are they still married?
I think they have an understanding.
Okay.
So whatever that means, I don't know. They have an understanding, I think.
They only see each other 1 month out of the year, right? That's what I've heard.
Right. Anyway, Daniel has written a third anthology called Underworld Dreams from Lethe Press. Could you tell us a little bit about your new anthology, Daniel?
Yeah, Underworld Dreams. It's a collection of 10 short stories. It's quiet literary horror on that side of the genre. And all the stories are full of tension between whether the supernatural elements are psychological or outright supernatural. Perhaps the closest thing is akin to the television work of The Twilight Zone, or in the tradition of the strange tales of Robert Aikman, where there's intentional ambiguity, and part of the fun, part of the tension is knowing just what happened there.
Well, that sounds wonderful. So the stories keep you guessing and don't actually give you any evidence of what really happened.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I'd like to think that the stories they would support multiple explanations and perhaps operating as a Rorschach, like the reader can bring to it. I enjoy stories like that as a reader, and I know I've done my job. If you have two different readers who read the story, they're like, "Oh no, it's definitely all in his mind," versus another reader be like, "No, it's definitely a ghost. It's definitely haunted dad. No, it's in his mind." And yet they could both point to 5 or 6 things that will go either direction, and none of them will feel cheap or like a trick. It'll all both be supporting there. And if I've done my job right, those are the kind of stories you'll find in Underworld.
Oh, that sounds really cool, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. I would love to read some of that.
I've had people who do that. They'll come up to me and say, well, I figured out the secret. The patient was actually dead the whole time in the hospital. They're usually not right, but whenever someone comes up to me with a theory, I look at them and I go, that's exactly what it was.
You got to take credit for all the good ones. You're like, yeah, two great minds think alike. I'm glad you found that in my work. Thank you.
Exactly. And here's the link to my next book. I will have links up to Daniel and his new book at our website at www.whatareyoufraidofpodcast.com, where you can also find all of our previous 153 episodes, in addition to our archive of ghost stories, which has proven incredibly popular since I expanded it. And I've even gotten letters from people who love the collection of ghost stories with the narrative element. Plus articles, recipes like my pumpkin cheesecake, things about Christmas and Yule, and a page for every show with additional links, biographical information, and anything you need. So we're going to pause on episode 154, Belsnicking this holiday with Fox, Phil, and Daniel Braum, not John Foster this time. And we're going to play an excerpt from his wonderful new anthology, Underworld Dreams. This is called Tommy's Shadow, and it's read by our beloved English folk singer, David Walton, on episode 154.
This is Katrina Weidman of Destination America.
This is Joe R. Lansdale, creator of the Hap and Leonard series.
This is actor and filmmaker Steve Monarch from Friday the 13th, the series.
This is Heather Taddy from Paranormal State and Alien Highway.
This is Chuck Zukowski from Travel Channel's show Alien Highway.
This is Dacre Stoker, great-grandnephew of Bram Stoker and author of Dracul.
This is Michelle Belanger from Portals to Hell.
And you are listening to Ghost Stories and Horror with T. Fox Dunham and Phil Thomas.
With the T. Fox Dunham and Phil Thomas.
Fox and Phil.
Billy and Fox.
What are you afraid of?
What are you afraid of?
What are you afraid of?
What are you afraid of? Horror and Paranormal Show.
What are you afraid of?
There'd be no Philadelphia without Uncle Lloyd.
An excerpt from the short story, Tommy's Shadow, from Daniel Braum's new short story anthology, Underworld Dreams, read by David Walton. A fat moon hung just above the horizon, lighting the lampless Sagittos Parkway. I turned off the exit, feeling more nervous upon seeing the weathered Pilgrim State Psychiatric Asylum ahead sign than I did before the Battle of the Bands. We have to bring something back for the Death Star, like from the kitchen maybe, I said. Probably nothing left, Richie said. We pulled into the complex, which consisted of a half-dozen 3- and 4-story red brick buildings. The huge stained glass window in the centre building, the tallest one, made the cluster look like a cathedral. The place was supposed to be deserted, but a lone car idled in front of the stairs leading to the centre building. Tommy's black Trans Am. I pulled alongside, then parked in front. Tommy and Alana were in the front seat. Don and Eric Nelson were in the back, drinking beers. Smoke wafted around the interior light. What are they doing here? Richie asked. I told Alana we were going. We got out of the car and Alana and Tommy got out of theirs. I searched for a hint of strawberry beneath the reek of smoke and beer. Hey, Marco, Tommy said. This was a totally cool idea. I figured we could all go in together. Screw you, I said. Why the fuck do you have to be everywhere? Saying it felt awful. I wanted to take it back and ease the sinking sensation in my stomach, but instead I glared at them and said, "Don't follow. Come on, Richie." I darted up the curved steps, jumping over fallen sections of a rusty rail. Richie followed more slowly. I pushed the heavily tagged left door and it swung open, a cut chain clinking like a 7-Eleven chime. The main room was 4 stories high. 3 levels of corridors, stacked like catwalks, overlooked it. Moonlight streamed through the windows, the stained glass sending warped streams of colour into the dark. Old chairs and milk crates had been pushed in a circle around the charred remains of a campfire near the door. Beer cans, cigarette butts, condom wrappers, and empty bags of chips surrounded it. "At least we're not the first," Richie said. "But everyone else are wusses. They stay here. We're going in. Let's just find the kitchen, then get out." We wandered further back, but the light wasn't reaching in. I thought I might have a flashlight in the Death Star, but I wasn't going back there now. We took the stairs to the first corridor. I tried the doors, each time turning back, half expecting Tommy to follow at any moment. The last 2 doors had long slots on the bottom. I jiggled the handle of the first one and it swung open. Empty except for heaps of garbage. The next one opened the same way. The moonlight shone on even more heaps of debris. Richie followed me in, and I really wished I had that flashlight and some nose plugs. It stank of ammonia and rot. "I bet this was solitary," Richie said. "Much better than the kitchen," I said. I sifted through the junk, squinting to see. My hand found something square and cold. I held it up to catch the moonlight. "Hey, Richie, a buckle. From a straitjacket? I dunno, but it's gonna look awesome on the Death Star." Something rattled in the other room, and Richie and I froze. Had they followed us? We snuck to the other door, expecting to surprise Eric Nelson or Don and give them a scare. Some guy was over by the window messing with the bars. A night watchman? He was singing to himself. Sounded like something by The Cure. "Fuck," Richie said. The guy stopped singing and turned. Just when the day couldn't get worse. It was the guy from the bleachers and 7-Eleven. He looked surprised to see us. For a long second we both just stared at each other like we had in the gym. "Sorry, man," I said. "We're really sorry. We were just poking around." When I spoke, he looked confused, even a little relieved. Did he belong here? Did he think we were busting him? Yeah, he said. And then he smiled, as if coming across us was the best thing that ever happened to him. For some reason, this was worse than as if he was all gung-ho on busting us. "This isn't happening," Richie said. "Can't you just not tell, please?" I said. "We'll leave right now." "All right," the man said. "But don't go. You seem like good kids." "Are you?" What a weird question. I wanted to just run, but I didn't want Alana to see us hightailing it out of there like some scaredy cats, or having this end with my mum telling Alana's mum how we got busted by some rent-a-cop, so I said, yeah, we're cool, right, Richie? It's been a bad day. Let's quit while we are behind." Why such a bad day? The man asked. With that, I knew we should leave. Maybe this guy was some weirdo or perv, but I got the sense he genuinely wanted to know. I was burning to tell. We lost the battle, and people are fucking assholes, I said, and launched into a rant about Tommy. How about you? He asked Richie. I want to get out of here, he whispered. Stay. Your face. I can take care of it. Fuck you! Richie yelled and took off. I'd never heard such anger from him, but I always knew it was there. The guy was only offering to help. He wasn't rousting him like Darren and Brett. I should have followed, but I just stared at the man. My shadow filled the room, but it seemed the moonlight just passed through him. He'll be all right, but you gotta stop protecting him. What's this Tommy fella's name? Tommy Mullen, I said. Tommy Mullen, huh? And he's been outshining you for too long, right? Right. I'll take care of it. You can? Of course. You don't have to do anything, just say yes. I'll do the rest. Why? I like you. Feels good to be around you. Maybe this will sound strange, maybe it won't, but it's like you bring out the best in me. Know what I mean? I did. Being around him felt good, even though I knew something was wrong and I should just bolt and follow Richie. He was definitely strange, but mixed up in all that strangeness was potency. Like all I had to do was say the word, and my troubles with Tommy would be over. Hey, Marco, you okay up there? Tommy yelled. I heard him bound up the stairs and down the hall. Even during this fucked up moment, this unexplainable, odd moment, he was there. All right, yes, I said to the man. What the fuck? He smiled like he had just sold me the Brooklyn Bridge. Suddenly, there was something horribly familiar about his crew-cut hair and blackened, sunken eyes and mouth. Then he was gone, and Tommy was in the doorway. What's going on? Tommy said, looking around the small room. Richie's all freaked out. Come on, let's get out of here. I had no idea where the guy had gone, or how he had disappeared, but I didn't care. Everything's cool, I said. What are you, a scaredy cat? I don't like it here, Tommy said. Let's just split. I slid the buckle into my pocket. Tommy was scared, and I couldn't wait to tell Alana.
Demons, vampires, werewolves, skinwalkers. All of this and more. Sunday nights at midnight on the Staring Into the Abyss radio show. Come, get lost with us.
This is episode 154, Belsnicking this holiday with Fox, Phil, and Daniel Braum. And we are back with wonderful Daniel and wonderful Phil getting ready to celebrate wonderful Christmas season, and this is definitely the time for ghost stories. Of course, we associate Halloween with everything scary and horrible, and I think ghost stories are best in the middle of winter during the dark times, when the light has fled and we are close to the cold and the raw, and when our fire goes out, electricity goes out, we are subject and at the mercy of those elements. When we think of death the most, and of course, in the pagan tradition, midwinter, Yule, and of course Imbolc, which is coming in February when I was born, this is considered the dead time after Samhain, the time when you sort of eat your roots and gathered fruit and vegetables, hide in your home trying to keep warm, just waiting for spring to begin again in a few months and surviving the cold. But we are back on What Are You Afraid of? Horror and Paranormal Show. We're on ParaX Radio Friday nights at 9 p.m. And check out our website at www.whatayouafraidofpodcast.com for more information about the show, our archive of ghost stories, and information about Daniel Braum and his new anthology. It's come out from Lethe Press, Underworld Dreams. And that was an excerpt from Tommy's Shadow, read by our beloved folk singer David Walton. Okay, so Daniel, we were talking earlier, and we were talking about Long Island ghost stories, especially there at the Pilgrim State Psychiatric Center ruins. That ruins is interesting. Could you tell us about the ghost stories about that site?
Yeah, Pilgrim State, you'll have to forgive me, I don't know my exact dates and my exact times. I was a kid who grew up in Long Island, and Pilgrim State was always that urban legend. It was just an urban legend like, oh, that place is haunted, and it was, that bad things had happened there, and that's why the asylum closed, and it had just been, like, how much creepier can you get, or on the nose? It's an abandoned asylum. And it was always the place that you would, before the age of the internet and ParaX Radio and before this ghost stories boom that the show is a part of, ghost stories, they still do, but more so, it was someone's older brother or older sister or friend. Be like, oh, wow, did you hear the older kids? What? Oh, they went out and drank some beers, were hanging out, they broke into it, and they snuck into Pilgrim State. And it was always sort of a badge of, maybe not quite Belsnicking, but a badge of roguish trouble. There were always stories that it was always haunted. I know your listeners probably know it better than me. I know it's been the source of a lot of ghost hunting places as of late, or not so late, so I'm sure a lot of ghost hunters have gone there. I don't really know that much about that. I just always know as a Long Islander, that was the haunted place.
And you've gone there?
I had a feeling you were going to ask that, and since it is a crime to break into that, and a reputable bell shaker such as myself would never admit to a crime on the radio, I will just have to say I neither admit nor deny being there. Okay. But I can tell you about it. It's a very graffitied place. Some artifacts of the place still remain there. I know people have campfires on the outer place way back when, and this has been decades and decades. I'm now 50 years old. I have a niece and nephew, and yeah, some of the same stories come along. Tommy's Shadow from Underworld Dreams is set there, and when I was talking about what I do and talking about the book with the younger generation, I mentioned, oh yeah, there's one story, it's kind of about Pilgrim State, and sure enough, the same, oh, that's scary. That place is haunted. That's the place to go, on a dare.
It makes me think of Byberry Hospital and Penhurst.
Right, yeah.
That these places, these ruined places, get this reputation for ghost stories, especially because as I often like to say, places remember, places are living, the spirit of the place, the genus loci, and that these places have been abandoned, yet they still carry the sad memories of what happened there for years, and they often manifest as ghosts. You were doing something else we mentioned. Sounds like a lot of fun. I can't wait to listen. You're doing something called the New York Ghost Story Festival. Can you tell us about that?
For the past 5 years, I've been running a reading series out of New York called Nighttime Logic. And I've expanded that to be a 6-night festival in the dark nights of December. Much as you said, December is that dark time. It is the time when we need light. And there's just been a long tradition of telling ghost stories in December. And we, as storytellers, we as authors, we as horror aficionados, always around that time of year, people are like, oh, we should bring that back. Halloween's gone, we should bring that back. And I finally got my act together to say, yeah, let me do that this year. Let it finally be the year that I make that happen in a small way. I know it still happens, but so I asked 20 of my favorite writers of strange and uncanny fiction to come together and read a bit of their favorite ghost stories, not necessarily their own work, although some of them are authors of ghost stories, but these fantastic authors such as the fantastic World Fantasy Award winner Jeffrey Ford, and the Shirley Jackson Award winning Brian Evanson and John Langan, and our Christmas ghost man who is not here, John Foster, is going to be joining us on Christmas Eve. The last night of the festival is on the 24th, Christmas Eve, and John Foster, myself, and Nicholas Kaufman will be telling some ghost stories.
That sounds like a lot of fun. We'll definitely be listening in on that. So is anyone reading excerpts from Christmas Carol?
I don't want to give it away, but that's my absolute favorite ghost story ever. How could a ghost story festival be complete without a bit from the wonderful Christmas Carol? I just want to say to your listeners, Fox, that it's online only, and it's absolutely free. And you just go to the links that Fox and Phil provide, and that's it. There's no signing up. There's no password. It just will bring you over to there. And by the time this is airing, a couple of nights will have already gone past, and you can just click on back to that and catch up at your leisure if you don't want to join us live.
Excellent. That's wonderful, Daniel. Thank you for doing that. Again, we'll have links up at our website at www.whatayouafraidofpodcast.com. So, Phil, do you remember last year, David Walton, our beloved David Walton, I got together with David, I wrote the lyrics, he wrote the music and performed a Christmas song about the Yuletide cat.
Right.
Remember that? Yeah.
I do.
Jacques Delarme, or the Yuletide cat. He's a giant cat dating back to the 19th century. It's not the fun, snuggly cat that you know of like Garfield. It's actually a vicious monster who will eat you on Christmas Eve if you don't have new clothes to wear. The legend was created to scare farmers into finishing the shearing of their sheep before the holidays. The cat needs an offering of wool to be satisfied, so wear a Christmas sweater. Now, this legend, it came from economic need because it's supposed to boost wool production, so people buy sweaters, or it gets the sheep shearing done so that the wool is ready to go before Christmas in winter time, before it gets too dark and cold, and boost the economy, that one of the things that Iceland depended on. So we're going to pause now and play the song again that we wrote based on the Yule Cat, and plus some other crazy holiday traditions that have gone by in the last couple hundred years. So this is David Walton on What Are You Afraid Of? Horror and Paranormal Show. We're on Parix Radio on Friday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. And check out our website at www.whatayouafraidofpodcast.com. We're also free. We have a collection of ghost stories, pages for every episode, articles, recipes, and interviews. So this is the Yule Cat performed by David Walton. We'll be right back on episode 154. Belsnicking with Fox, Phil, and Daniel Braum.
Santa Claus is coming to town.
In Iceland during Christmas there roams a monstrous cat that kills kids who shirk hard work, then leaves them on the mat. Off you Krampus, go and sing, don't forget Belsnicking too, but when you close on Christmas Day, or you like the during will devour you. The Yule Cat is huge and vicious, the house pet of Grilla and Trolls. Woe how it clothes kids without new clothes, and purrs when it chews on their bones and souls. Of your Krampus, go and sing, don't forget Belsnicking too, but when you close on Christmas Day, or you like the jury will devour you. Svarta Pete is a racist image, and poor kids get no gifts from Santa Claus. But let me opine that worse is a feline that slaughters lazy kids with its claws. Off you Krampus, go and sing, don't forget Belsnicking too, but when you close on Christmas Day, or you like the jury will devour you.
Dead Zone WDZRTV, where metal and the paranormal collide.
Your source for everything paranormal, Para-X.
Hello folks. I've uploaded a compilation of 10 songs with a ghostly theme that have been specifically recorded for various episodes of What Are You Afraid Of podcast.com. Go to Bandcamp and search for Brendan Shawland. The album is called The Ghostly Brendan Shawland. You can listen to them for free or download them for a modest fee as a complete album or as individual songs. Thank you.
It's Christmas. Santa has been toiling at the North Pole all year with tunnel vision, obsessed with his dream of bringing a toy to every good boy and girl. Little did he know that the Helsinki 221 virus escaped from a lab in Virginia and has turned the world's population into flesh-eating zombies. We now join Santa on the night of December 25th as he learns this terrible truth.
Ho, ho, ho! Oh, so many last-minute additions to the naughty list this year, Blitzen. We only have a couple of houses to go to. And what's a medulla oblongata? Must be the new hot toy this year. I just don't know. Where are we going to land? There are no lights on the roofs. Bring us down closer. Dasher, Dancer, Rudolph, do your job. Oh, here we go. Tungsten Overbite residence. Tungsten has been very good this year, and so has Jim Bob. Okay, let's do this. Down the chimney we go. That's odd. There's no tree. No stockings hung by the chimney with care. There's no cookies. What are they doing? What was that? Oh, hello, children. You're not supposed to be awake at this hour. Ho, ho, ho. What's that unnatural glow coming from your eyes? Well, here's something for you, Billy Bob. It's a... Why would you want a dismembered foot? No, not my foot, not my foot. No, that's my toy making. Ho, ho, no! Oh, no, that's a real beard. My beard is real. Oh! What's a real beard? Dasher, why is your stomach glowing? Rudolph, no! No, bowl full of jelly is just a turn of phrase. Oh, my coat is a darker shade of red. Ho, ho, no. No. Oh, dismembered Christmas.
And thus Santa learned the true meaning of a zombie Christmas. Join us next year when we explore the exploits of Zombie Santa. And thank you to the Bloomsburg What Are You Afraid Of players. And now on with the show. Happy holidays. We are back on episode 154.
We are back, and that was great. That was great.
Yeah.
I know it's incentive for the farmers to produce shearing, but but I like to think that the Yuletide cat is actually real, and not just a fear-induced. I like to believe that there really is a Yuletide cat out there somewhere.
It could be my friend's cat, Gambit, the Christmas cat. But yeah. So David did a wonderful job performing that song, and he does our short stories and ghost stories, and he's just been with us all 5 years, and I appreciate all the work he's put into this. But we are back on episode 154, Belsnicking this holiday with Foxville and Daniel Braum. Daniel's been telling us all about his ghost story collection in New York that's coming up, and it sounds like that's going to be wonderful. Some great authors reading from famous ghost stories to bring us back to the tradition for Christmas. and his new book that just came out in October, Underworld Dreams, an anthology from Lede Press. Okay, so you two are in for a treat.
Okay.
Fantastic.
And I have a couple of interesting Christmas traditions. I've been doing a little research, and I know we did Yuletide Monsters, which talked about Belsnicking and Krampus and the Yuletide Cat, so I won't really go over any of those again. But these are some other odd traditions from around the world, and remember, before we put too much fun at them, everybody has their own histories. In Greece, this time of year, there's a race of malicious goblins called the Kelakantsaros. They're goblins that dig up from the earth's core because they want to saw the world tree in half and frighten people during the Christmas holidays. Some of the goblins are small, others are tall, they're dark and hairy and have pig noses or goat ears. They come up and play tricks during the night through the holidays, then on January 6th, they're gone.
I like it.
I think January 6th, that has to do with the airline prices, so they probably are taking advantage of those airline tickets and coming back to Greece. Makes perfect sense.
We've solved the mystery of the malicious goblins of Greece. That's wonderful.
Wonderful.
Going back to Wales, this is a strange tradition. The macabre skeleton mare, a Welsh tradition, rises from the dead and wanders the streets with her attendants, who are also fresh from the grave, to remind the living of their existence. The merry lord has only one goal in mind: to get into your house. To keep this zombie horse out, you must engage in a battle of wit. In rhyme, no less, usually on New Year's Eve, where the undead mare is represented by a puppeteer parading a horse skull on a pole as he's draped in a white cloth. So, a horse skull with a ghostly shroud knocks on your door. What do you do?
Offer him some spiked eggnog.
How about you, Daniel?
Get that phone out recording and for some Fox, is that you?
Yeah, probably. Okay, you just ruined my Christmas surprise. I'm gonna have to return the horse skull and the puppetry now in my attendants because they're really disappointed. But you could go to Japan this time of year. In 1974, a popular ad campaign caused the country's population to associate the Colonel's KFC, yes, KFC chicken, with Christmas. Now, Christmas is a non-religious holiday in Japan. It's mostly been imported from the West, especially during the American occupation of the islands at the end of World War II. So obsessed is the population with eating KFC that from December 23rd to December 25th, that's all a lot of the people eat, and they actually have to put in orders 2 months in advance to get their chicken on Christmas Eve.
What a way to become a ghost is the story Colonel Sanders and how he sold his name and likeness to Kentucky Fried Chicken. I often think of that, and poor Colonel Sanders, eventually, even though he was paid good money for it, he became later in life not happy about it, but now he is his own ghost haunting himself.
Incredible.
He sure is.
So heading over to Norway, the original pagan associations with Christmas aren't forgotten. Now, for a long time, Christmas wasn't celebrated by a lot of Protestant or Anglican faith because they knew that Christmas wasn't the birth time of Christ, that essentially the Vatican adopted Christmas because of the pagan holiday and celebration, made it about Christ, and a lot of the traditions were kept. This was very popular over those first couple of centuries as Catholicism was spreading throughout the world. When countries like England became Protestant or Anglican, they saw Christmas as a pagan holiday and banned it completely, especially during the time of Oliver Cromwell after Charles I had been executed. And this actually spread to the United States, where Massachusetts, for a couple hundred years, forbade the celebration of Christmas because of its pagan tradition. But over in Norway, it's believed on December 24th, witches and dark spirits would come out of the earth and take to the skies. Now, and upon what vehicles do witches usually fly? Yes, brooms. So before December 24th, people in Norway hide their brooms and cleaning supplies so the witches won't bother them.
How do you get ready for all the company you're going to be having then?
New Zealand, other side of the world, Christmas is a summer holiday. So, and Phil, I know you're going to like this. So to celebrate Christmas Eve, they have all their friends and family come over, and they barbecue.
One of my favorite things to do. I love barbecuing.
They also don't decorate a pine tree. they decorate a Pohatakoana tree, which blooms a wonderful shade of red in New Zealand. However, of course, in Germany, when they're not decorating trees, they're hiding pickles in them. The Christmas tree tradition goes back to Germany in the 16th century. We put out our shoes. You may have done this when you were a kid, Phil. You put out your shoes by the fireplace. And
I have done that, yes.
Yeah, and you wake up the next day and there's a little treat in there.
I think I only did the shoe thing one year, but the milk and cookies were every year until, I stopped believing in Santa Claus when I was 25.
Well,
So
in Ireland, they put out Guinness instead of milk. Did you just say when I was 25?
I was joking. Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned milk and cookies. As a Brooklyn tradition, I learned from John Foster that you're supposed to put out nachos at John Foster's house on Christmas Eve. And John swears to me that this is a tradition that one must follow.
But in Germany, going back to the 16th centuries, when it looks like we really started the Christmas tree tradition, O Tannenbaum, they would hide a pickle in the tree.
Hide a pickle in the tree?
Yeah. And whatever kid found that pickle got a gift.
Oh, why a pickle? Why a pickle?
Well, they say that the tradition might have come from Spain, when 2 kids were trapped inside a pickle barrel, but St. Nicholas saved them and brought them home.
Oh.
They also
fascinating.
Also apparently brought them back to life, which started a zombie plague that wiped out most of Spain. Way to go, Santa! In South Africa, they don't eat pickles on Christmas Eve. They don't hide brooms. They fry caterpillars on Christmas.
Oh.
Now, these aren't the common caterpillars that I'm pulling off my fennel, cursing nature. It's a species known as the pine tree emperor moth, or Christmas caterpillar, because they're covered in festive colors, and eating them gives you good luck for the rest of the year.
Yeah. Not for the caterpillar, though.
Bad for the caterpillar.
Yeah.
Okay, this is fun. In Spain, and this is a real thing, the kids make a hollow log with stick legs, a smile, and a red hat. This is known as Tió de Nadal, or the Christmas log. Every night from December 8th to Christmas Eve, kids feed this log candy and treats, and then give it water, and then they leave it under a blanket so it doesn't catch cold. Then on Christmas Eve, the children beat this well-cared-for log with sticks and sing traditional carols with lyrics like, "Oh, poop log, poop hazelnut, and matto cheese. If you don't poop, we'll hit you with a stick. Oh, poop log." Yep, and after it is properly beaten and serenaded, the log magically poops out presents and candies. Then they throw the log in the fire because they don't care about it anymore.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
that's just mean. That's just mean. After the log provides them pooping out, presents, they just burn it alive. That's not cool.
Reminds me of South Park. Mr. Hanky, the Christmas poo.
Oh yes. Okay. I forgot about that.
This was not the only Christmas story I came upon that's about excrement. In Christmas in Sweden, the tradition is not Saint Nick; it's a Yule goat. It goes back to the 11th century. Where there were legends of a goat man that was imprisoned by St. Nicholas, who was supposed to be Satan. So Santa fights Satan in the 11th century. And in the 17th century, young men dressed as goats to pull pranks and demand gifts. Then in the 19th century, the goat man replaced Father Christmas entirely. You dressed up as a goat and you gave gifts. Though these days, goat ornaments are popular in the trees, and larger cities make giant goat men out of straw and red ribbons, though pranksters often burn these down. Now, the legend may relate to the legend of Thor, who rode a chariot that was led by 2 goats. Again, it was that Christianization of pagan traditions that give us the holidays that we have today. In Venezuela, South America, on Christmas Eve morning, they all go to church by rollerblading. And they actually have closed off parts of the city to make sure that this parade of rollerbladers get to church on time. And in fact, many years they've dressed up like Father Christmas as they've done it.
Very traditional, very traditional.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. And you get some exercise working off that raspberry cheesecake. So finally, my last interesting Christmas tradition. I really like this one. In fact, I'm planning to get the ornaments we need for the tree. This comes from the Ukraine. In the Ukraine, the spider is the symbol of Christmas. In December, discovering a spider in your Christmas tree brings good luck and fortune to your family. The source of this tradition goes back to the legend of the Christmas spider. Poor widow and her children had little to eat and no fuel to burn. On a summer day, a pine cone fell onto the dirt floor of their miserable house and took root. The children cared for the pine tree, excited that it would grow by Christmas, and they would have a Christmas tree. It did indeed grow, but they had no money to buy decorations for it. That night, the children sadly went to sleep. When they woke up the next morning, they discovered that their tree was covered in cobwebs. When they uncovered the windows to let the light in so they could look at it better, the first rays of the rising sun touched the webs and turned them into strands of gold and silver, and they were never poor again. Now, some versions tell that Santa changed the tree or Jesus granted a miracle, but to this day, a spider in your Christmas tree is a lucky omen of coming wealth. Spiders and cobwebs are popular tree ornaments in the Ukraines, and the Ukrainians make small Christmas tree ornaments from paper and wire, known as pavokli, which literally means little spiders. This is probably the origin of tinsel.
I always wondered what the origin of tinsel was. That's interesting.
Looks like spider webs.
Why is tinsel not used anymore? Did you notice that? It's something that kind of went out of fashion.
It's horrible. It's just ugly.
Is that what it is?
Messy.
It's just ugly.
And messy.
People got sick of it, I guess, right?
Yeah, and it was everywhere. We are going to be celebrating some form of this holiday, and it really just goes back to that initial need for some sort of hope to get us through this dark time, especially right now, when so many people are suffering, so many people are sick, and a lot of us are struggling for hope and faith because this year, 2020, of course, we're still fighting COVID, and it looks like it's going to get very bad. It's been very bad in the United States. So I want to ask everyone out there this year, go out and donate. Go out and take some food or give some money to your local food bank. That's really important. So many people are fighting to buy food this year. So many people are going to be homeless soon. We're looking at a terrible disaster coming. Or get over to Toys for Tots. Drop an unwrapped, prepackaged toy in one of the bins, or go over to Barnes & Noble, where they're doing book drives. Alice and I are going to go back, and they're collecting books for age groups 1 through 2, and then up to age 12 or 13. And I mean, if you're buying each other gifts, which is great, maybe take one of those gifts and donate it this year, because a lot of people are suffering. And with all the struggle I've had keeping my Medicare and everything the last year, and I still feel so incredibly fortunate to have this wonderful home with my wife here in Lancaster.
It's definitely a blessing, and it's a scary time. We need something to, and you're right, people need to give back, the ones that can afford to, with food drives and pantries and, like you said, Toys for Tots is, kind of give back, because it's a scary time, and, it's everything seems so uncertain.
We need a little hope. We need a little help. We need to help each other.
That's where Santa Jaws comes in. That's a little bit of cheer, right?
They asked Dr. Fauci if Santa needed to be vaccinated, and he said, yeah. Through Santa's magic, he's immune.
Oh, okay. So that's good. That's good to hear. How about Rudolph? Does Rudolph need to be vaccinated?
I don't know. Let's see if he can smell anything with that red nose of his.
The red nose, yeah. He may not be able to smell anyway, right?
Right.
So you won't know if he's got COVID.
Oh, that's terrible. Well, we're wrapping up episode 154, talking with Daniel Braum, who's been an old friend of ours for going back years. So Daniel, any new projects coming out after December you want to mention?
Just the audio book of Underworld Dreams will be coming out. Also, one of the short stories from Underworld Dreams is also reprinted in Ellen Datlow's Best Horror of the Year, Volume 12. So you can find that as well, and it's a great Christmas gift full of the best horror. Ellen Datlow does not disappoint.
Nice.
Phil, you just released a collection of short stories, didn't you?
I did. It's a collection of short stories, like you just said, called Dinner, Drinks, and Ectoplasm, and we'll have links. We do have links for that on our website. On our website at www.whatayouafraidofpodcast.com. And you can pick it up for free. I'm giving it away.
Yes.
I'm giving it away for nothing. It's no strings attached whatsoever. You don't even have to sign up for a mailing list or anything like that. You just download it. It's free and clear. And Daniel, I would like to, follow you on Twitter. I see your Twitter here at Daniel Braum, Twitter at Daniel Braum. And
thank you.
I want to follow because I want to check out your upcoming projects, and we'll have all those links to those projects listed on the our website too.
I'll follow you back when I'm on there. I'll see you. Thank you so much for staying connected. Thank you for the support of the New York Ghost Story Festival. I didn't have a second to mention. I'll definitely be supporting the show back by letting the listeners of the festival know that they want the real life ghost stories and more to come. Listen to What Are You Afraid Of with Phil and Fox. I'll be sure to return that support. So thanks, guys.
No problem. Appreciate it. Thank you.
This has been a fun show. Episode 154. Belsnicking this holiday with Fox, Phil, and Daniel Braum. It's been really fun to get back with all of you and to kick off the end of 2020 and to celebrate Christmas. And I really believe that a better time, a time of light, is coming in 2021, and we're going to see some great things as we sort of become more aware of ourselves. But thank you, Daniel, for coming on the show. It's been wonderful. Check out Daniel's work over at www.whatafraidofpodcast.com, where we will have links to his New York Ghost Story Festival, plus links to his new anthology coming out from Leather Press. But thank you so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. I had a blast. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for being here.
Be safe and put a pickle in your tree. This is T. Fox Dunham.
And Mrs. Phil Thomas.
Alas, my love, you do me wrong to cast me off discourteously, for I have loved you well and long, delighting in your company. Green sleeves was all my joy, green sleeves was my delight, green sleeves was my heart of gold, and who but my lady Greensleeve? Your vows you've broken like my heart. Oh, why did you so enrapture me? Now I remain in a world apart, but my heart remains in captivity. Green sleeves was all my joy, green sleeves was my delight, green sleeves was my heart of gold, and who but my lady Greensleeve? My men were clothed and all in green, and they did ever wait on thee. All this was gallant to be seen, and yet thou wouldst not love me. Green sleeves was all my joy, green sleeves was my delight, green sleeves was my heart of gold, and who but my lady Greensleeve? Well, I will pray to God on high, that thou my constancy may see, and that yet once before I die, thou wilt vouchsafe to love me. Green sleeves was all my joy, green sleeves was my delight, green sleeves was my heart of gold, and who but my lady Greensleeves?
If you don't poop, we'll hit you with a stick. Oh, poop log. T. Fox Dunham lives in Philadelphia with his wife, Allison. He's a lymphoma survivor, cancer patient, modern bard and historian. His first book, The Street Martyr, was published by Gutter Books. A television series based on the book is being produced by Throughline Films. Destroying the Tangible Illusion of Reality or Searching for Andy Kaufman, a book about what it's like to be dying of cancer, was released from Perpetual Motion Machine Publishing, and Fox has a story in the Stargate anthology Points of Origin from MGM and Fandemonium Books. Fox is an active member of the Horror Writers Association, and he's had published hundreds of short stories and articles. His motto is Wrecking Civilization, one story at a time. Find out more information at www.tfoxdunham.com.
Phil Thomas is an author and screenwriter from the suburbs of Philadelphia. His screenplays have been produced into 2 feature films, False Face and Always from Darkness, and are available in major retailers such as Best Buy and Target, as well as availability on Netflix and Amazon Prime on demand. His screenplay, 3 Tunnels, was a semi-finalist at the LA Screenplay Competition. He is a member of the International Association of Professional Writers and Editors, and he currently writes for Cultured Vultures, Game Skinny, and BloodyDisgusting.com. He formerly held the position of Senior Marketing Manager at Eternal Press, and was a journalist for Patch, where he wrote a daily tech column covering the latest electronics and gadgets. He lives in the suburbs of Philadelphia, and is currently working on his second novel, Worst Afterlife Ever.
Daniel Braum is the author of the short story collections The Night Marchers and Other Strange Tales, Cemetery Dance eBooks 2016, The Wish Mechanics, Stories of the Strange and Fantastic, Independent Legions 2017, and the chapbook Yeti Tiger Dragon, Dim Shores 2016. Underworld Dreams, his third collection, was released from Leith Press in October 2020. The Serpent's Shadow, his first novella, was released from Cemetery Dance eBooks in July 2019. He is the editor of the Spirits Unwrapped anthology from Leith Press, October 2019. His work has appeared in publications ranging from Lady Churchill's Rosebud Wristlet to the Shivers 8 anthology. His most recent story appears in The Best Horror of the Year, Volume 12, edited by Ellen Datlow. He can be found at https://bloodandstardust.wordpress.com, www.facebook.com/Daniel Braum Fiction, and on Twitter at Daniel Braum. He is the host of the Nighttime Logic reading series and the annual New York Ghost Story Festival established in December 2020.
The views expressed and the opinions given by the individual host and their guests do not necessarily reflect those of Para X, its affiliates, or its sponsors.